Thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us on the stage. So let me start with you, Mr. Mukundan. So just help us understand what are the major IT transformations or the changes that you've done in your organization to kind of address those needs.
Any transformation initiative from the IT perspective is an evolving one. There is no fixed way of saying that we have completed the transformation. It's a journey. So for us also, it was like in 2013, we were hosted with an organization called Rackspace in US on a physical server kind of an environment. And one of the prime reason for us to have the applications migrated to India at that time was from the latency perspective. Ours is more of serving to the end users. Today it stands at more than 3 million active users accessing our website. And predominantly 85% to 90% of the users are based out of India. So there was a solid business reason of migrating the applications and other workloads to India. So we took some risks and we configured the alternate environment in India data center. So it was like a month of experimentation on a live setup. Our team stood up to the occasion and then we fixed all the issues. We had overcome all those issues, and with the evolution of the technology, with the, more compute power now coming in the host, we had, when we went in the initial stages, it was like 8 core per processor kind of machine. So you go with the host with the 4 socket. But today in the same 4 socket, you are getting some 22 cores and 28 cores. So you naturally get those inherent advantages of staying on the same platform, leverage the advancements in technology from the compute and storage other perspectives. So today we are able to phase out some of the old hardware, stay on the same virtualization platform, but you get more density per host, which helps you to optimize the cost of operations, the total cost of ownership, and you get the other benefits of the virtualization platform from management perspective. You have your vRealize operations and other stuff, which gives you some kind of a dashboard and report saying that which VMs are overutilized, which VMs are underutilized. If this be the rate, when you would exhaust your capacity. So naturally, the choice has to be, how do you choose your platform on which you want to build your newer applications or migrate existing applications from one platform to the other platform.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the first step that you took was to kind of consolidate from a hardware onto a virtual or physical to a virtual. All right, so I'll just come back to that in a moment. So Mr. Mohan, what would be your thoughts and what were your initiative that you did in your organization, given that you're from an education industry? So what exactly was your transformation?
Our journey to the digital transformation started somewhere in 2006, where we started having applications for automating most of our internal processes. So, but the challenge that time was basically the underlying network was not so stable because it was built over a period of time in a more unstructured way.
Okay.
So that was a challenge for me to build a basic infrastructure, and then on top of it we started building applications and stuff like that. So there we had looked at consolidating the infrastructure, where initially we tried to consolidate the servers. So we moved the servers from the location wherever it is there to a common data center. So okay. Data center is built, then the infrastructure, the servers are moved to the places, and then we had some kind of visibility, but we were not able to optimally use the resources. Okay. So that is the time we really thought about virtualization, and that was really a good decision. In fact, I believe, because we were able to really understand what's happening in the infrastructure, whether the resources are utilized properly, or can we pull the resources where it is underutilized and give it to someone who really needs it. That is one point. Second thing is, as I said, most of the campuses run almost 24/7, right? And we also spend a lot of money on managing these resources, operational cost.
Operation cost, okay.
So this virtualizing the infrastructure, especially the network as well as the servers, and we are also now virtualized the desktops also. Most of the systems are running on a VDI infrastructure. So that has resulted in recovering the money what we have spent on the capex what we have spent on bringing these technologies probably in in a very short period of time, like 2.5 years of time.
Okay.
We were able to really see the benefits of the transformation.
Okay, sure. So, Mr. Vijay, so what are your thoughts and what is your, initiative that you did run in your organizations?
So IT has been converging and rapidly changing itself in different forms. So, for example, if you take a HR function or let's say a finance function, whatever they studied in college is still relevant for them. Same accounting, recruitment. But when you say IT is completely changing and refreshing. By the time you invest into a new technology, by the time you start reaping the benefits out of it, some other new technology comes. So we'll be looking at VMware, suddenly Nutanix comes. Then suddenly, new products are coming into the market. So are we making the right choice is a major question. And again, the dependency on the IT systems is becoming earlier it used to be 99%, then it became 99.9. Now we are talking about 15 nines, 17 nines kind of environment. So hybrid cloud would be the way forward for the data availability, for the data, with the kind of increasing data. Now cloud cannot be completely trusted, then you need to again, and on-prem also cannot be completely trusted. Then the way forward is to have a hybrid kind of a model. Again, it depends on business to business, and with a proper exit strategy, I think that should be a good way to manage our innovation.
Okay.
In this virtualized environment, where we have around 150 branches, which is all virtualized. So what I would need in my infrastructure side is speed, that is performance. We need data security. We need manageability, ease of managing things, and also high scalability. How quickly you can scale up or scale out, and how you can ensure that you can give what the business needs, basically. So from that perspective, hyperconvergence plays a big role for scaling out. Today we do a $500 million business, a small business currently. With 3 nodes, I'm able to manage that. So I can scale up to some 64 nodes. And you imagine the size of scale up I can do from a business perspective, which I can offer to the organization with the same infrastructure. And apart from that, manageability becomes virtually easy. You have one contact point for your support, subscription, services, all your software, hardware, patches. Management becomes an ease actually.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is hyperconverged is something that you felt would be a good fit given the organization demands that you come. So right.
Quick turnaround time for scaling up.
For scaling. Okay.
That's a big plus for all businesses.
So Mr. Dutta.
So for us, the short and sweet answer is there was no option left. Okay, we were growing at a pace wherein we were acquiring companies in India as well as abroad. So with every acquisition, we were also inheriting the data centers. Okay, and also the resources were getting sucked in managing those data centers. And hence, we thought that the first step towards it is to adopt the cloud first strategy. And sometime towards the beginning of last year, we went on to cloud. And that is what as I said, there was not much option left, and we didn't want to delay it further, because with every delay, we were seeing, the disruptors in the market, because of recently we'll see that a lot of startups have come up in the logistics space, and the vision of our chairman is not to call us as a logistics company. We want to be called ourselves as the technology company. Okay, so with technology, without a proper infra in place, I don't see, for us to grow beyond a certain point. That is where we adopted this cloud first strategy. And by God's grace, we are the first 3PL in this country to adopt this. And when I say 3PL, it's a third party logistics provider in this country to adopt and move to cloud. We are in private cloud now. And so far it is working well. Just one word of caution over here. I mean, before you take that decision, moving to cloud is easy, but reverting is an equal uphill task and very expensive too.
Let me get back to Mr. Mukundan. You did touch upon the operation side as well. So any specific thoughts in terms of benefits that you kind of reaped because of the fact that you moved from physical to virtual, and then on the operations side, anything that you want to talk?
Yeah, one of the key benefits of getting into a virtualized platform is always about the high availability. Right? In a physical environment, you have multiple applications hosted on multiple physical servers. So if one physical server is down, It may have just a database, it may have database plus application. So meaning that the impact to the business and to the end users is significant. So the virtualization platform by nature allows you, functionalities like a vMotion or a DRS, So the workload performance can be managed. The availability is always about, significantly improved compared to a physical server environment. So these two are the key benefits. And with the evolution of cloud, hybrid cloud, now you have providers like AWS or Google gives you direct connect options, so you can extend the network to the cloud. So once you are on the basic platform and you start experiencing the minimal benefits that comes with the platform, now it gives you an opportunity to extend the same, and seamlessly, you have your network extended on the cloud, meaning that you leverage the benefits of the cloud, like, elasticity, scalability, and all those stuff.
So you did, Mr. Krishnaswamy, you did mention about HCI as a technology. So while we speak about virtualization on the server side, given that virtual SAN or the storage becomes a little crucial when it comes to an HCI decision. So what are the benefits that you see by getting into a virtual SAN or virtual storage mode? Because given that HCI is primarily around the virtual storage technology, what are your thoughts around that? And what do you see as a benefit by moving into a virtual mode?
What I see from my perspective as a benefit is basically you can grow horizontally.
Okay.
You can grow vertically. Both ways is possible.
Okay.
So you need not worry about that. Second thing about reliability.
Okay.
And the way your data and your storage can be managed.
Okay.
Ease of management, reliability, and growing horizontally and vertically.
Okay. So basically,
any way which you want, the business wants basically.
Okay. So that agility in terms of ensuring that you have the server and the storage virtualized is kind of helping you there, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, because otherwise, scaling up is in a traditional model is
Absolutely
so cumbersome. You have to deal with multiple touch points. And it's a big pain. I think most of us would have done that, and it is a pain for all of us.
Sure, thanks for that. So the other key component in a data center is the network, and you did touch upon the fact that that was one of the major points that you felt as a bottleneck. So by adoption of virtualization on the network portfolio, on the network side, what are your thoughts and any guidance to the team sitting here?
Yeah, as I said earlier, the environment in the universities are very unique. We have people, the students are there, very, very intelligent and smart students. That is a big challenge for us, people like me, security challenges. Then we have faculty members, and we have other, people who are on board for administration in the campus. So we have different types of people, and the environment is not like, in industry, where you have a test environment separate, development separate, then you will have a production separate, But our setup is not like that. We have a data center where we have servers, storage, everything is there. But how are you going to, segregate these people, this environment for different purposes? And as I said, we have to provide infrastructure for the students to carry out their lab exercises. Similarly, we have to provide infrastructure for the people who do some projects, funded projects will be there, where we need to provide them the infrastructure. And also, our production systems are running there. We have Exchange server hosted in our campus, on-prem, and with about 6,000 users. And we have our homegrown ERP application, which is basically manages the campus administration, the students' life cycle management. So these are the kind of systems we have in the campus. And having all those things in a data center, and having firewall at each and every systems, separating the network. So that was becoming a big challenge for us. Okay. So that is the time we thought about virtualization the networks, where we have deployed NSX. And we are able to do the micro-segmentation, where my lab systems are running in the same rack, in the same infra, in the same rack, in the same chassis of Blade Center. And we were really able to manage the stuff. Like, there are certain systems where we need power. Like, for example, we have a course registration process, and we have our result publication process where, we are going to have a massive number of hits getting into the system.
Okay.
Where, we had challenges, and last 2 years we were using the virtualized network where the software defined load balancer is able to take the load and really, able to withstand the kind of concurrent connections which is getting into the system. So I'm able to see a lot of benefits by virtualizing the networks as well as servers and even the VDS piece also. Like, especially with respect to VDI, we have situations where we were told to deploy certain applications. Like, when it comes to placement, like, there will be companies coming to the campus and they say that I want this system with, say, for example, around 1,000 machines with so-and-so applications at the last minute. And they will ask us to maybe add or remove certain components at the last minute. Okay. So there we really had the benefits of deploying or using VDIs.
So basically what you're saying, the policy management of the entire network policies with that.
Yes.
And that, you did mention about the load balancer taking.
Yes.
I think that was a pretty heavy load that was hitting the,
yes.
And what you're saying is the software-based load balancer was able to take the live.
That kind of load.
I think
that's for
excellent.
example, as I said, especially our entrance examination, we have around 2 lakhs people writing the entrance examination. The day of result publication, it's a tense day for me, because we do not know, we have seen people getting into the system early in the morning,
so more than the parents, you are tense.
Yes, so much of hits in seconds. Okay. And we had miserable days also sometime back, 2 years back, we had a hell of problem. And after this deploying the software-defined network systems, the system is able to really take the load. We have seen, in seconds, almost 6,000 to 7,000 concurrent connections are getting to the system.
Okay.
And we were able to, run the show without any problem.
Great.
It was a hassle-free kind of situation the last 2 years.
Thanks. So before I summarize, I just want to open it up for questions from the audience. Any question that you have that can be answered. We have the best of the breed people sitting from the industry on the stage. So any questions,
Yeah, and you were talking about thin clients and VDI and other stuff, right? Actually, my company is right now actually overlooking on to the concept of having a VDI for ourselves. Now, I know a lot of work would have gone down while you were trying to migrate everything from your natural desktops to VDI. Now, how complex was the work and how long did it take for you to complete it?
See, when we decided to go with VDI, we tried all the applications, whatever we are using in the campus, all those engineering applications we tried in VDI. In fact, there was the team, VMware folks were there with me. Spending in front, Mr. Tulkapian was there. I think he spent a lot of time with us, and streaming the applications and even I think and tested, and that has given a lot of confidence to me to go ahead. So
yeah, and also on top of it,
it's not so easy, but once it is deployed, your life will be very simple. Everything is managed, centralized, and you don't need people running around for troubleshooting or managing, and you will have a complete control on your application. You can decide what applications to be streamed to which student. For example, a particular student needs only maybe 2 or 3 applications. You can create a template and stream only those things. And you can really control the screens. What is relevant to him, only you will get the get those privileges.
Exactly,
so that's
and it solves for the audit purpose too.
Yes, correct, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thanks for the opportunity.
So VDI has its own advantages and disadvantages. What works for one doesn't work for the other. In fact, for our organization, we tried to do a VDI environment, but we did a POC initially with 10, 20 systems, but when we loaded to more than 250 GPUs, then it failed. So technically, you need to run complete load test and everything and see whether that environment works for you. And again, as you said rightly, there are a lot of connectivity issues. You can afford to do that in an educational institution, but running in a live production US environment, you cannot take your own risks. So industry for industry, it varies. So you need to do that math and see if it works for you.
So I think that's something, obviously, we need to have a little bit more discussions on that. We do have use cases starting from education institutions to ITES to banks. I mean, SBI, the biggest bank in India, they have the entire 25,000 branches that is getting virtualized on VDI. So technology definitely is reaching there, and we are there to ensure that technology is supporting the cause. And as you rightly mentioned, Mr. Vijay, it's all about understanding and testing what exactly is it's running in your environment. You ensure that everything is actually done and tested, and then move ahead rather than just jumping into it. I mean,
anything has to be approached from the business that you are into and what are the compliance and legal. For example, one of the main use case, if you are in a banking, probably could be how do you take care of your security and compliance as perspective? How do you manage your desktops, right? What is your policy of allowing USB or external drive to be connected? Then what is the complexity that you have? How do you produce? So in a VDA environment, probably now VDA is available on cloud as well. So every situation you have to consider and then see what is the most important pain point that you want to address rather than looking at cost or a benefit or a performance side of it.
Sure. Thanks, Mugundan. So in the interest of time, I think we kind of need to summarize the discussion. So just to kind of do a quick recap, I think everybody is in agreement with the fact that the business has to change, and it has changed in one way or the other, starting from the basic virtualization from physical to virtual to the hyper-converged infrastructure, wherein you're talking about not just server but the storage as well, which is actually going down to the network side, which means that we are virtualizing the server, storage, and the network area. And we are actually moving up on the cloud model when you say private or a hybrid. So that's precisely what VMware is also talking about when it comes to transformation or digital transformation. So we also believe in four major areas that we feel that organizations should look at. One is modernizing the data center, that is precisely virtualization and operation. Second would be the security side of it. By ensuring that the business needs are changing, we should also ensure that the security is actually not compromised. That's where the security comes into picture. Third is the hybrid cloud model. And both of you did mention a very important point, saying that going out into the cloud is much easier, but coming back is the biggest problem. So that's where we come in as technology, wherein we have an option to ensure that you actually move workload from an internal private cloud onto a public cloud and pull it back as easy as I speak, right? So that's exactly what we do, because we have the underlying network layer, and we've jointly announced the partnership with AWS recently, and which is live in Mumbai, which means that you can run a private cloud in your organization on a VMware platform, and you can kind of pull the workload onto a public cloud on AWS and get it back at the same ease as we speak. So that's something that we do on the integrated public cloud. And the fourth pillar that I would talk about is the digital workspace, which is a combination of VDI plus mobility. That's what Mr. Sindhil also mentioned. So we have a portfolio which is an integrated portfolio between VDI, which is extending all the way to the mobility side, with the mobile piece as well. So these are the 4 points and 4 pillars which we believe that the organization should go into to ensure that you can run any application. When I say any application, it could be a SaaS application, traditional application, or the cloud native application, whatever you call it, which is going to be running on any cloud, right? When I say any cloud, it could be a private or a public or a hybrid model, and which can be accessed by an end user from any device, which is your mobile, laptop, or tablets, or whatever it is. So that's precisely what we came up as a vision about, I would say about 3 to 4 years back, and which is a reality right now, which customers are using, and they are kind of experiencing that. So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. And once again, thank you all for your inputs. And I think the audience had some great inputs coming from veterans like you. And once again, thank you for coming on stage and sharing your time with us.